Sago High School student Hachiman Hikigaya is part of the school service club led by Yukino Yukinoshita. Hachiman is an extremely observant student, while Yukino is outwardly cold but secretly very nice. They are joined by their fellow classmate Yui Uegahama, but over time their adventures together have complicated the relationship between the three students. After their recent visit to Kasai Rinkai Park, Hachiman thinks about how he, Yukino, and Yui can solve the problems in their relationship. They talk about Yui's cookies and then Hachiman asks Yukino to share her request. Yukino wants to make her own path in life instead of following her family's footsteps. She asks Hachiman and Yui to support her in becoming more independent. Yukino plans to move back to her family's home and make things right with them. Hachiman and Yui agree to help her, and they all go to Yukino's apartment. There, they meet Yukino's older sister Haruno, but she happens to be drunk during their visit, so the three aren't ready to confront her yet, although Yukino tells her sister that she has something important to share soon. The next day, Hachiman checks on his younger sister Komachi, who's getting ready for an interview for his high school. He agrees to meet her at the Marimpia shopping center after her exam. While waiting, he runs into his classmate Saki Kawasaki and her younger sister Keiko. After noticing him, Saki reluctantly invites him to eat with them, and Hachiman ends up buying Keiko chocolate treats. This annoys Saki since she doesn't want her sister to be spoiled. Afterwards, they talk about the pressure from the upcoming entrance exams and the difficulty of having younger siblings. Eventually, Komachi arrives, who enthusiastically greets Saki, and while she watches the siblings interact, this brings up memories Saki has of Hachiman. Eventually, Saki and Keiko leave and Hachiman goes shopping with Komachi. Komachi wants to help with chores to make up for not doing them while studying for her exams, and she thanks her brother for his support, which brings tears to Hachiman's eyes. Back at Yukino's apartment, Yukino and her friends decide to have a serious discussion with her sister Haruno. With Hachiman and Yui supporting her, Yukino gets the courage to tell Haruno that she has decided to go back to her family, since her sister won't listen to her if she is sober. Yukino thinks that the troubled relationship in her family is the root of all their problems, and that Yukino needs to talk to their mom about her future. Eventually, Haruno agrees and even promises to help Yukino talk to their mother. Afterwards, Yukino starts packing to go home and Yui offers to help. Haruno offers to let Yui stay the night, and the two friends start packing as Hachiman leaves with Haruno to go to the convenience store. In reality, Haruno wanted to get Hachiman out of the apartment alone to talk to him. As they make their way to the store, she tells him that she truly wants to support her younger sister's wishes even if she feels she hasn't been the best older sister. She also asks Hachiman to take care of Yukino. The next day, Hayama talks to Hachiman and mentions that Haruno told him about what happened yesterday. He notices that Yukino has started to change slightly. After class, during the club meeting, Iroha comes to the club room and suggests organizing a prom party for the next year's graduation. Iroha shows them a movie about prom and tries to get them excited for the event. She also expresses her desire to be elected prom queen, even though Hachiman dryly points out that due to elections being a popularity contest, Hayama would definitely end up becoming prom king. Although they have some reservations about the idea, after Yukino questions Iroha on why she wants to plan such a massive undertaking, she becomes satisfied when Iroha tells her she is planning the prom not just to make others happy. Yukino agrees to help, but emphasizes that since she made the decision to help by herself, and not as the service club president, Yui and Hachiman don't have to help plan the event. In the evening, Yui goes to her room and thinks back to something from yesterday. When she was alone in Yukino's room, she saw a photo of Yukino and Hachiman from their trip to Destiny Land hidden among some stuffed animals on Yukino's bed. Yui realizes she's known for a while how Yukino feels about Hachiman, and acknowledges her own feelings for him but feels like she can't do anything about it. Later at school, the results of the recent exams are released. After catching Hachiman yawning in class, Seika scolds Hachiman and tells him not to stay up too late. He teases him about worrying Yui and Yukino to Hachiman's embarrassment, although Hachiman tells him that the service club activities aren't in session. Suddenly, Hachiman gets a text from Komachi and he quickly rushes to the results of the entrance exams. Alongside Seika, he runs to Komachi and she tells him she scored well enough to get into his high school, and she bursts into tears of happiness. Meanwhile, Saki is celebrating with her little brother Teishi nearby, who also has got into Sabu High. Yui arrives to congratulate Komachi, and the two of them plan to share the news with Yukino. Later, Iroha approaches Hachiman to try to get his help in setting up the prom. Yukino has been helping Iroha a lot for the prom, but Hachiman tells Iroha not to rely on her too much since Yukino has a stubborn personality and limited stamina, which means she could push herself to exhaustion. After teasing him for being overprotective of Yukino, Iroha makes another attempt to get his help by acting as his younger sister to his embarrassment. Eventually, at the end of the day, he decides to help and he joins the rest of them to plan the event. With the prom planning committee formed, they come up with different plans to get students who wouldn't normally attend a social event like this to come. They also tell him of their plan to film a promotional video to promote prom with the help of all their friends. Since there are a lot of people, Hachiman hopes to just disappear in the background of the video, though when he dresses up for the video, he finds Yukino also wearing a suit for the video. The video relies on pairs of dancing students who are dressed up like they are going to prom, with Yukino paired up with Iroha, and Hachiman paired with Yui. Meanwhile, Yui and Hachiman share a moment together in the dressing room. Unfortunately, after the video is recorded, Yukino and Iroha critique the footage and aren't happy with the results. They ask Hachiman and Yui to be the main dancers in the video, even though the two of them are a little uncomfortable to be in the spotlight. Though with the support of their friends, the two of them are able to get over their nerves and dance. Later, as the students celebrate the filming, an impressed Hachiman observes his fellow students having fun and admits that prom might not be a bad idea after all. The video to promote the prom is a hit, and after the meeting, Yui helps Hachiman pick a gift for his sister to celebrate her successful entrance into Sabu High School. While they are shopping, Hachiman gets a little embarrassed when Yui takes a cute selfie of them together, and near the end of their trip, they end up talking about their dreams for the future, but both of them can't make up their mind about what they want to do after high school. The next day at school, Iroha gives them dire news and summons them to the principal's office. There they find out from Yukino's mom that certain parents are against the idea of a prom and are attempting to stop the event. Iroha tries to argue that the students have responded well to the idea of prom and that the social media attention has been good, but her arguments are ignored. Yukino decides that she wants to handle this problem alone, to the protest of both Yui and Hachiman. Haruno scolds them and tells them to respect Yukino's wishes to try to handle the issue herself, and to give her some independence. Later, Haruno tells Hachiman that she wants to lessen the codependency that Yukino has with him and Yui, even though this leaves the two of them really worried for their friend. Unfortunately, even though Yukino tries, they eventually get the news through social media that prom is likely to be cancelled. And this news is confirmed by Hachiman's teacher, Shizuka Hiratsuka, who tells him that the school's higher-ups are secretly trying to cancel the prom. On his way to meet Yukino to give her the bad news, Iroha stops him. Later, he talks to Yukino about her involvement in the prom, even though she still doesn't want to depend on him to become more self-reliant, and tells her that he wants to do what he can to save it, as he feels bad about his low involvement with the planning so far. Later, when they are alone, Iroha apologizes to Hachiman for all the trouble the prom has caused, but he tells her that it's alright. When he asks why she is so fixated on having prom, Iroha eventually reveals that she wanted to hold the prom for the benefit of their teacher Shizuka, who will be transferring to a different school this year. The prom would actually be a farewell address to their teacher as well as all of the graduating students, which would include Hachiman, Yukino, and Yui. And after telling him that farewells could be a refreshing experience, she orders him to get his act together before she leaves. That evening, Hachiman chats with his sister, Komachi, about the different events for graduation and the different ways that schools have their farewell experiences. The next day, he shares his plan with Yui and gets some help and tells her that he has created a competition between himself and Yukino. The two of them go to a cafe to come up with an idea, and they get the idea to create another prom that would make the original prom look good in comparison. This way, the parents would go with the original prom if they saw there was a terrible alternative. They end up spending several hours together coming up with a terrible prom proposal, and while researching in a cafe, Yui falls asleep on Hachiman's shoulder wishing the day would go on forever. But Yui is faking that she is asleep, because even though she feels happy to be with Hachiman now, she feels that the trio's friendship is just a lie that they are telling themselves, and that the truth is Hachiman will eventually end up with Yukino. She hopes that when school ends, the final climactic moment will happen between her and Yukino, which will conclude the three of them dancing around their issues. Later, Hachiman puts into action his plan for a terrible prom proposal, and gets help from the gaming club. To make their plan more believable, Yui and Hachiman meet with Orimoto and Taminoa from Keihan Sogo High School, and the guys have a friendly rap battle together. After choosing a project name and working on a website, Hachiman talks casually with Yukino outside and she tells him there's no reason for him to go so far for this. Meanwhile, Yui tells Yukino that she intends to help Hachiman with his idea. Later, Hayato Hayama tells Hachiman that he can't back his pretend prom idea even though they are friends. Hachiman moves forward with his plan, and the website for the fake prom plan is launched. In the aftermath, Shizuka and Hachiman have to talk with an unexpected friend who figured out his phony plan, and Yui is upset by Haruno's earlier comment about Hachiman, Yukino, and herself being too reliant on each other. Hachiman goes to visit Yukino when the fate of the prom is decided, and she makes an unexpected request, asking him to fulfill one of her wishes. Later, she talks with Yui, who finally admits her true feelings for Hachiman even if it could spell trouble between the three friends. As the graduation prom party approaches, Hachiman keeps his promise to Yukino. He's willing to fulfill any wish of Yui's as long as it's within his power. Yui has many wishes but also wants to grant a wish to Hachiman as well. At school, Yukino mentions that planning the prom involves a lot of organizing, but she turns down Hachiman's Hachiman's offer to assist. On the next Sari, Yui asks Hachiman to help bake treats for his younger sister, Komachi. Later the graduation ceremony begins, and it becomes a very emotional affair for Meguri, the student council president, to see the class nearly complete their school years together. On the night of the graduation prom, Hachiman has the realization that he can't say no when people need his help. And later that evening, Yui asks him for a dance. After the prom, the team gathers in the student council's room, and Yukino's mother and Haruno pay them a visit. When everyone else leaves, Yui, Yukino, and Hachiman have a heartfelt conversation together about the feelings between the trio. Afterwards, Hachiman goes to talk to Haruno and gets some advice from her. His teacher, Shizuka Haritsuka, offers to drive him home because it's late, and they end up talking at a baseball batting range. Shizuka tells Hachiman that you can't sum up feelings with just one word, like codependence. However, Hachiman feels that his relationship with the girls is fake because they don't communicate honestly with each other. After school, he talks with Yui about the service club coming to an end and expresses his desire to keep being around Yukino, which makes Yui very sad. Iroha challenges the gaming club about a prom that doesn't involve the student council, not realizing Hachiman is behind it. Hachiman then meets with Yukino, her mother, and her sister. Afterward, Hachiman and Yukino have a long talk on a bridge, trying to express their feelings despite their difficulties with communication and social skills. Later, Hachiman and Yukino get together to plan a prom with other schools, but they have little time, not enough help, and a tight budget. They visit a possible prom location, and misunderstand each other when they see a wedding. The next day, more people than expected show up to assist, and later, the guys take a break and relax at a sauna. While they're getting the ballroom ready, Hachiman's sister, Komachi, arrives, and Iroha gives romantic advice to Yui, who's still sad about what happened between her and Hachiman. After the event, Hachiman and Yukino finish things up, and she surprises him with a confession that leaves him speechless. In the aftermath, Komachi and Iroha drop by the service club and announce their intentions to revive the club again so they can help other students around their school. And the first student they can help is Yui, who is mirroring the first time she arrived at the club when it was just Hachiman and Yukino, and has the first official request to the new service club. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.